All throughout the release process of the Air Jordan 1 85 Bred this year, I was complaining about the insane marketing push and campaign that Jordan Brand was forcing on us. Like we knew it was going to be super limited, 10,000 pairs, no sneakers release, only 23 stores would have them. But every day it seemed like they had a new gimmick to like really ram down our throats on how special and coveted this shoe was. Like we get it, everyone wants this shoe, but don't remind us every day that we probably won't get it. I don't have a problem at all with limited and exclusive releases. Jordan Brand and Nike have done that like every single year for a ton of shoes, but the way they did the Bred this year was just, I don't know, annoying. Now, this shoe that I'm reviewing is even more limited, even more exclusive, but didn't really have any problem with how they released the shoe. They kind of let us know it was going to be limited, let us know it was going to be expensive, and just dropped the shoe. And as someone that always looks forward to the Lunar New Year releases from Jordan Brand, I thought a long time about whether or not I want to pay a ton of money to get this shoe, but in the end, it was kind of just nagging at me. Like, I need it, I want it. So I finally got it, nearly 2 months after initially released. So here it is, Air Jordan 1 Year of the Snake, Xuanwu. Now the shoe dropped as a China exclusive for $335 on January 29th. That was the first day of Lunar New Year. Very limited release, only 3,399 pairs were made available. And the reason why I believe that number was chosen, I can't really see anywhere that it's confirmed, but my guess is $33.99. It does sound like longevity, like long lasting in Mandarin. So a lot of times for like weddings or like special occasions, that number gets referenced. So I do think they chose that number specifically, and the inspiration behind this shoe, of course, it is the Year of the Snake shoe, but why this color? This is meant to reference a Chinese deity, Xuanwu, who is one of 4 Chinese cosmology deities. I'm not exactly sure what the correct term is in English, but that deity is often depicted as a cross between a tortoise and a snake. So obviously, Year of the Snake makes a lot of sense. The tortoise is not a Lunar New Year animal. And yeah, I'll get to details later, but you'll see references to a snake as well as a tortoise on the upper of this shoe. And first impressions of the Jordan 1 Year of the Snake, Xuanwu. I like it. I really, really like it. A lot of times for these Chinese New Year releases from Nike or Jordan Brand, it's just underwhelming. Honestly, apart from this, all the other Year of the Snake shoes this year, the Jordan 5, Jordan 1 Low, the Nike Dunks, some were nice, none of them I was like a huge fan of, but this shoe, yeah, it is special. You can just feel it when you unbox the shoe, feel it in hand. The smell of this leather is different as well. Of course, you get the raised texture, very unique patterns on the shoe. The Wings logo immediately pops out. Everything about this shoe, as soon as you kind of get it in hand, you feel how special it is. I like this shoe. And the upper of the shoe, of course, it is very unique. So the base layer, it is cowhide leather, and the leather quality of this, it is really nice. It's really soft, especially like the smell of this leather. It just smells delicious, but it doesn't feel like super flimsy, and there's no like super heavy polyurethane coating all over. And the color of the leather, it is actually kind of sail, so it's not like pearly white. And then on the overlays, you see this very distinct kind of gold sprayed pattern all over, and that is meant to represent like the scales of a snake, and that extends all the way through the eye stays to the ankle flap that you see at the top there. And speaking of the ankle flap, probably the craziest thing about this shoe is this Wings logo here. This, as you can see, is its own piece, and apparently the Wings logo is plated with 24K karat gold. Very luxurious on this shoe. And then you see the swoosh wrapping all the way around the heel of the shoe. It's also like its own piece that feels kind of like a TPU material. So you see a lot of Chinese motifs on the pattern. So you get like clouds, peaches that represents longevity, I believe. Cranes as well. You see that a lot in not just Chinese culture, but like Asian culture overall. And it's got this really cool like brown, black type of shade to it. I really like how that looks. I know it's not for everybody. Some people might think it's a little tacky, a little too much going on, but I think it's actually pretty subtle. It's pretty well done. It's not like super bright, super bold, but yeah, that's just me. And then moving up the tongue, this is again a very special kind of setup here. The laces that come out of the box, it's actually black leather laces, which I personally don't really love, but it does kind of add to the more luxurious and elegant vibe they're trying to go with. And the tongue itself, it is not that usual nylon material that you see on general release Jordan 1s. It is actually leather as well. And one kind of disadvantage that comes with using this material on the tongue is it can feel kind of flimsy, so it kind of drops down a bit more easily than a general Jordan 1 tongue. But then at the very top, you get this gold Nike Air tag, and on the inside of this tag, you get your special unique number. Only 3,399 pairs were made. Mine is the 2,723rd pair. So yeah, it just reminds you of the exclusivity and limited release of this shoe. And then one thing I have to point out, the ankle collar lining here, that is also leather as well. Now one good thing, even though I don't like these black leather laces, is that it does come with one extra set of laces, and it also does have gold lace tips. And apparently that is actually 24K gold as well. Can't confirm or deny, I don't really know gold like that. So I definitely prefer those laces rather than the black leather laces out of the box. I just think it looks better. I like that material better. I don't like leather laces. Just kind of looks weird on my feet. Not my thing. And one thing I have to point out is that the shape of the shoe, especially the toe box, does feel kind of boxy. And at first I was like, did I get a bad pair? But if you look on images, it does have that same type of boxier shape on the toe. Now in terms of cushioning, the Jordan 1s does come with a rubber cup sole with a Nike Air just on the heel. Very, very old technology. You can barely feel the cushioning of this shoe. Now the sole color here, it is kind of sail. I kind of wish they would match that color with the off-white type of color on the base, but it's not like super sail, it's not like pea stain yellow, so I don't mind it too much. And now moving on to the outsole, look how beautiful that thing is. It's got the same type of brownish black pattern that you see on the swoosh, as well as the heel that kind of resembles like a tortoise's shell. Remember, this shoe is a reference to Xuanwu, that is often depicted as a tortoise and a snake together. I'm just a huge sucker for a really nicely done outsole, so yeah, this might be my favorite part about this shoe actually, even over the Wings logo. Now in terms of the insole, one thing I have to point out, the top of this insole is actually leather as well. You can see the texture and grain of that leather. It's in black with some gold Nike Air branding, but the overall like quality of this insole, it is not like premium comfort insoles for $335. I did wish, kind of wish, that they came with better quality insoles, but it is a little bit more special than like usual generic insoles from Jordan Brand. And the box of the shoe, you see this plastic cover, and the cover itself has that same type of pattern that you see on the shoe with a Wings logo in the middle and some design motifs in the four corners. Then the box, it is a Jordan 1 box with gold branding, and they also give you this gold shoe cloth. And in the bottom corner there, you also see a very subtle Wings logo. Now in terms of sizing and comfort, I am a wide and flat footer. For Jordan 1s, usually I go true to size, fits me pretty well lengthwise, widthwise, even with flat feet. This shoe, I will say, it does feel like it runs a little narrow. It does feel a little tighter in the toe box area compared to like other Jordan 1s. Maybe it's the material choice, but I think after some break in time, it will feel better. Now in terms of the overall comfort and cushioning, Jordan 1s, just very ancient technology. Don't expect the best. A rubber cup sole is super good for durability, but for comfort and like just plushness and softness of cushioning, it is not the greatest. The Nike Air, you barely feel it. Very, very old shoe, very flat to the ground. If you're looking for a super comfortable shoe, choose something else. And that brings the total sole score of the Jordan 1 Year of the Snake Xuanwu to 39 out of 50. A pretty decent score compared to other special releases. First, it is colorway. I can't say that I think this is a legendary, just one of the best colorways I've ever seen. It is not. I still like the OG colorways more, like the Bred, Chicago's, but I think overall the color choices here are very well done. Predominantly white sneaker with some dark hints. Yeah, I don't think there's any tackiness to this colorway. I think it's great. And in terms of materials, for a shoe that is retailing for $335, they better come correct. And honestly, the leather does feel really nice. Very nice and soft, smells just brilliant. Even the TPU kind of pieces that you feel on the swoosh as well as the heel, it just feels good. Like it doesn't feel cheap, doesn't feel like it's gonna fall off very easily. In terms of materials for Jordan Brand, it definitely does feel elevated. Now in terms of comfort, I don't love the comfort of this shoe. Jordan 1s in general are very average in terms of comfort, but it did feel slightly tighter. Definitely kind of felt like it ran narrow in the toe box area, kind of tighter than usual Jordan 1s. I'll have to break it in, but at least on like initial wear, it wasn't like the most comfortable shoe. Didn't really hurt my feet anywhere, but yeah, compared to like a Jordan 13, definitely not even close. And in terms of the versatility of the shoe, the Jordan 1s are just a super wearable silhouette. You can't go wrong. You can wear it pretty much for every occasion. The wearability of this colorway, even though it's very different, I think it can stand out a lot, but not stand out in a weird and like bold and kind of peacocking way. White sneaker with black, and for all intents and purposes, just some like little hints of gold. You can barely see it unless you're like up close. And this brown and black, I think, is still pretty wearable as well. So yeah, overall, super easy to wear. And in terms of the storytelling of this shoe, I think if you do your research, if you read up on what the inspiration behind this shoe is, I think the storytelling is pretty well done. I would have liked maybe like a hang tag or some memorabilia that I can keep, never wear on the shoe, but I would have liked some extras. That shoe bag that comes with the shoe itself, it's a pretty nice touch. But in terms of like the overall theme, it is a Chinese New Year shoe. Yeah, they could have maybe given us some, I don't know, like red pockets or some Chinese New Year chain or something just to throw in there. For $335, they could have given us a bit more to really like hone in on the storytelling of the shoe. But the subtlety of the storytelling on the shoe itself, I do like. See the clouds on the swoosh, the kind of subtle snake skin, the special type of box that it comes with. I do like that. This year's Chinese New Year releases from Jordan Brand was, I have to say, pretty underwhelming. I think last year's was pretty underwhelming as well. Wasn't until this was announced and released that it kind of made up for the underwhelming nature of the entire capsule. But it is a very limited release. The best one, easily the best one of this year's Chinese New Year pack. Was pretty much impossible to get. That's it. Thanks for watching. Soul Inclined. Let me know what you think of the Air Jordan 1 Year of the Snake Xuanwu. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. And remember, tomorrow may never come, so wear your shoes.